Good evening and welcome to Up South on a day of dramatic developments at the Karnataka High Court. Former Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Jayalalithaa, has been denied bail by the High Court. This means that the AIDMK chief will be spending more days at the Bangalore Central Prison as convict number 7402, and her next port of call will be the Supreme Court. I'll be joined on this special broadcast by my colleagues Rohini Swami and Pratibha Raman from Bangalore, who have been tracking every twist and turn in this dramatic case at the High Court today. Also, Srisha Reddy will be joining me live from Chennai. In fact, it was a day pregnant with high expectations that Jayalalithaa will get bail. And in fact, when the prosecution told the court that they had no objection if Jayalalithaa and the other three accused should get bail, everyone thought that Jayalalithaa would take the next flight out of Bangalore and land in Chennai by this evening. But that was not to be. The High Court contended that there were not sufficient grounds for bail and that letting out the convicted could lead to economic offences and granting bail could be in violation of the CRPC. Pratibha Raman, you were inside the High Court where there's a lot of drama which in fact took place. But most interesting was the 180-degree turn taken by the Special Public Prosecutor Bhavani Singh, saying that he had no objection. But the judge, importantly enough, did not take cognizance of that no objection given by Bhavani Singh and denied bail to Jayalalithaa. What exactly happened inside the Karnataka High Court today?
Well, in fact, this morning, as soon as Mr. Ram Jethmalani walked in fact, he wanted to advance the hearing of the case because the number was listed at 73. So initially, he did mention the fact that on special request, the Justice Chandrasekhara could actually hear the case in advance. But then Justice Chandrasekhara did mention that he would go in accordance with the serial order. And as soon as the case came up for hearing, just soon after about 45 minutes, in fact, Mr. Jethmalani did start off on a very humorous note, stating that had I known that this case would be heard in just about 45 minutes, I wouldn't have appealed in the first place for advancing the entire case. And soon after he presented the arguments, just when the public prosecutor did mention that there would be absolutely no objections that would be filed in terms of granting of conditional bail, there was an air of exuberance, air of joy, people exchanging high fives, especially among the AIADMK lawyers who walked out stating that there would be conditional bail that would be granted. But then Justice Chandrasekhara, in contrast, the entire happiness was very short-lived when he said that there would be absolutely no grounds for suspension of sentence that can be granted because corruption being one of the most important cases which would lead to human rights violation, leading to economic offences. He did mention that the question of bail would not arise at all in the first place, and hence it took a 180-degree turn, stating that there would be absolutely no bail that would be granted. So, air of disappointment as Mr. Ram Jethmalani walked out of the court hall. Absolutely.
Rohini, you heard there what Pratibha Raman reported from what happened inside the court today. The judge, in fact, used very strong language, saying corruption is a crime against society. Now, the fact that Jayalalitha's legal team would go to the Supreme Court, is this kind of language that the judge has used in the Karnataka High Court, his views on corruption and this particular case, can that really be ignored by the Supreme Court while hearing the bail petition which will come up before it in the next few days? I think we have lost the audio link with Rohini Swami. Srisha, the AIDMK, of course, reacted faster. It started celebrating, distributing sweets, bursting firecrackers. What is really the mood in the party like? Because it's almost like September 27th, where also they celebrated before reality sunk in that their chief minister had been convicted and sent to jail.
Well, exactly, Sudhir. Sycophancy is not just restricted to the walls of Tamil Nadu. It was very evident at the Poets Garden because people started celebrating even before the final orders came in, and that's when, after the final orders came out, and then people started moving out slowly. So that was a scene at Poets Garden. Of course, very disappointed ADMK partyman after Jayalalitha's bail plea was rejected. Let me just go across to Mr. R. Mani, senior journalist, quickly and ask him, so how have you been seeing the latest political developments that have been taking place? Today, the ADMK men were very fortunate. They were thinking that Jayalalithaa would get bail today.
No, it was very sad. From the perspective of an ADMK cadre, it looks very sad. But as an observer, I think I have personally expected this verdict. With my personal experience of covering this case for the past 18 years and being an avid watcher of the judicial proceedings of so many cases, I have expected, and in fact I was telling my friends also, that the final relief for Jayalalithaa will come only in Supreme Court, not in the High Court. Moreover, I wish to state one more point, that the tactical blunders made by the Jayalalitha's legal team has ended her in this sort of situation. I think she has to wait for some more time till the Supreme Court decides the case in one way or the other.
That's right. So she will have to spend a few more nights in the jail, is what the senior journalist telling. Back to you, Sudhir.
Right, Shisha, also what does the AIDMK plan to do now? Of course they will go to the Supreme Court, but do they see this setback as a huge political loss of face for them, especially in Tamil Nadu?
Well, exactly, Sudhir. Of course, they will be moving to the Supreme Court, but yes, of course, they were very hopeful that Jayalalithaa would get bail in Karnataka High Court, because they have been trying so hard, because lot of even their prayers, and even when they had appealed, there also reports came out on the day when they had appealed at the Karnataka High Court, even in, with the vacation bench judge. The time also they had appealed that they were planning to appeal it 2 times in one single day. So that shows the urgency that they want the AIDMK Supremo to be out of jail as soon as possible. But also the way the case has been proceeding, I have a lawyer with me, Mr. Rajashekaran. The case has been, you have been following the case very closely. So now that they will be appealing to the Supreme Court, so what are the chances? And today you did also see how the case went on.
See, this is a very good case on merit, and Madam Jayalalitha's team of lawyers have rightly appealed by way of criminal appeal in the Karnataka High Court. And definitely you cannot expect or presume the judgment before in hand. So they have approached the High Court, and the High Court has rejected the bail petition. There is an hierarchy of judiciary. The apex court will definitely take this matter on merits, and definitely she will get a relief, because it is below 10 years. Section 389(1) of the Criminal Procedure Code clearly says below 10 years they are entitled to get bail on the appeal made by the convict. And it is not that everything is finished and the sky has not fallen. It's not like that. It is a verdict by the Sessions Court, and she has always got the option of approaching the apex court, which will decide it, because it's a highly sensitive case. And she, being the Chief Minister of a state, that too most popular Chief Minister and popularly known as Amma, and she has been coming out with so many good schemes and all, and definitely the emotions are very high running throughout the state of Tamil Nadu, and definitely people are with her, and definitely the apex court will also take all this into account, and definitely they will also go into the merits. She is always an obedient person when it comes to judiciary.
So that is Mr. Rajashekaran, who is explaining the legal aspects of the case.
Absolutely. Shisha, if I may just go across to Rohini. Rohini, you heard Mr. Rajashekaran, a lawyer and of course a supporter of the AIDMK there in Chennai, saying that the sky hasn't fallen. Now, of course, they will go to the Supreme Court. But given the fact that Supreme Court is known to frown upon cases of corruption and the kind of language that was used by the judge in the Karnataka High Court today, is that something that the Supreme Court can really ignore, because he spoke about corruption as a crime against society?
This is something that the Supreme Court cannot ignore, and this is not just the High Court, but even we saw in the Sessions Court, where Justice Michael Tukunia also, in his judgment, also has been very stern, and he has explained it in many points about how that the other accused have had Benami, especially when it comes to assets of Jayalalithaa. But this language that was used by Justice Chandrasekhara also, and the way he has gone ahead, in spite of the fact, the SPP, the Special Public Prosecutor, said he has no objection to bail. Yet he observed corruption is something that is a violation of human rights, and that it could lead to precedents of other people who are possibly indulging in corrupt activities. To use it as an example, he made it a point that this judgment will clearly set a precedent, saying that nobody will be let off if you are indulging in corruption. The Supreme Court, when they sit, and where she will be appealing very shortly, obviously we have been told that the arguments, the judgment will be taken to Delhi, and they will file for a petition. The judges will be sitting, will closely and very keenly screen both these observations of both the judges before they come up with their judgment on it.
Right. Right. Rohini, Pratibha and Shisha, just hold on for a moment. In fact, something very unpleasant happened on the streets of Chennai today, where there were a lot of posters which came out, which actually threatened the Kannadigas who were living in Tamil Nadu. In fact, these had the names of Tamil Nadu Social Welfare Minister Valarmati, also AIDMK MP Kumar, saying that if Jayalalithaa does not get bail, they will abduct Kannadigas who were staying in Tamil Nadu. In fact, the party has distanced itself from it after the outcry in the media and also on social media, saying that the person who put up these posters was in fact an expelled member of the AIDMK, but it was enough to create panic. There you can see on your screen the posters which have been taken off the walls of Chennai. Srisha, you have been speaking to the people on the street. Now, how is Chennai reacting to something like this, open threat to the Kannadigas, people from Karnataka who are living in different parts of Tamil Nadu?
Well, Sudhir, as far as Chennai is concerned, there is no open indication, no open response on road. But yes, of course, on social media, people have been very vocal on social media. They have been tweeting about it, even on Facebook as well. There have been a lot of indications and a lot of messages to people. And of course, from the day of the judgment, there have been strong responses on social media. And to add it with that, I have a social media expert, Kriba Shankar. Could you please explain us how the social media is seeing the whole entire scene, and are they being very vocal about the entire thing? I mean, is it the same, the response that we see on road is the same on the social media as well?
What, Trisha, on the road you see absolute extremity, extremes, right? So when the bail was granted, or what looked like, and suddenly there's just burst of joy, crackers and distribution of laddus and all that. So when it turned around, and suddenly it's just bellowing, crying, and then this sorrowness. But that's really the opposite in social media. What I sense is a very educated kind of a response is what I'm seeing. So people have a lot of respect for the law and judiciary, and that's the impression that I'm getting. And
good question. When sports fraternity or when Tamil film fraternity came out in support of Jayalalithaa, what was the response that you will see? And even when we were tweeting about the news, there were of course a lot of not good responses. But what did you see?
Oh, absolutely not good responses. I mean, this is the same film fraternity that really came together when Anna Hazare had come together for the anti-corruption, and here's the same gang coming up against here, protesting against this jailment. So I think so people are very sharp. At least on social media, they can really see through the haze and know what is right and what is wrong.
That's Kriba Shankar explaining that, of course, the scene is contrast what we see on ground and what we see on social media.
Yes.
And people are sharp to balance between what's on ground and what's not. Back to you, Sudhir.
Absolutely. In fact, the Bangalore Police Commissioner M.N. Reddy was quick to react to the situation which was developing in different parts of Tamil Nadu. He spoke to his counterpart in Chennai, Mr. George there in Chennai, and assured the people that everything was safe. Rohini Swamy, in fact, spoke to M.N. Reddy, and this is what he had to say.
Yeah, I spoke to Mr. George, Police Commissioner of Chennai, and he stated that in a couple of places some miscreants had put up some posters, and those have been ordered to be removed, and action will be taken against those people who are responsible for that. And also he said that there is absolutely no tension, no feeling of insecurity in the minds of anybody, including Kannadigas living in Chennai. Therefore, I feel that this is just a misplaced thing and should not be given too much importance.
Welcome back. You're with Up South. We'll cut across live to my colleagues Pratibha Raman, Rohini Swamy and Srisha Reddy. Pratibha, to you first. There was tight security in different parts of Bangalore, around the High Court, around the prison. Will that continue in light of the fact that there have been various tension-making activities by the AIDMK cadre in Bangalore as well? Okay, Rohini, where does the AIDMK really go from here? Because this has been a huge setback for them, at least legally, for some time.
Well, the option in front of them as of now is the Supreme Court, and when my colleague Pratibha Raman also spoke to Ram Jethmalani, who was the counsel for Jayalalithaa, he said though he was disappointed, it will be Jayalalithaa who will decide how to approach the Supreme Court and what should be done. But that's the thing in front of them, and they will go hammer and tongs to see to the fact that this case has to be won, because at this point of time, Jayalalithaa would like to get bail because that's her only option. The High Court and the Sessions Court has rejected her bail, so she will. The ADMK has the option only of going to the Supreme Court, and they're looking forward to some verdict from there.
Right. Srisha, quick word to you and Mr. Mani. Is Tamil Nadu likely to be in protest mode for some more days to come? Srisha, if you could hear me, is Tamil Nadu likely to be in protest mode for some more days to come?
Well, Sudhir, yes, of course, there will be more protests. It has turned into a protest mode. We have been seeing protests ever since September 27th on the day when Jayalalithaa went to jail. So, of course, yes, and today also
Right.
we saw the first time the Coimbatore market went on a protest. So, yes, of course, we will continue to see protests in Tamil Nadu, of course, with opposition
Absolutely.
parties have been pressing for police protection to maintain law and order.
Right, Shisha, we'll continue to track all those developments taking place in both Tamil Nadu as well as in Bangalore very closely on this very big political story. That's it then on Up South this Tuesday evening. News and updates will continue on Headlines Today.